Okay, let's go.
So what we're going to do today?
Yeah, let's go into the workshop and try to find out what is interesting to talk about today. Hi guys, so today I think it's time to talk about what we do with our GS150 tuning conversions. I think it's interesting for all of you to know a bit more about that, what we are doing here in the workshop. And yeah, let's start. So we are thinking about GS tuning about more than 10 years, and it started in 1910 about the tuning measurements that we could choose to make our beloved GS150 a bit more potential. So in the years before, I always was a guy thinking tuning is a sacrilege, and we want to drive our GS as it is, and it's done for that. But over the years, the distance we took with our tourings was on longer and longer, and one day we traveled to Gibraltar, so 7,000 kilometers on an original GS motor was a bit enduring and heavy. So we started tuning a bit more, and in the past there was no chance to get in the shops and get some top ends that you can place on your GS to make it a bit faster. So we started on tuning the original top end. The original top end is limited a bit because of two transfer ports, and the timing and outlet ports are in a shape that yeah, there's a lot of potential. So we took what the most guys of you do. We started with our drilling instruments and all what we needed to metal shaping, and started doing porting of the original barrels. For some years we had good result with all that, up to 14 horsepower with a long stroke crank, and our clients were very happy with these results. But you were limited, and you are limited. More than 14 horsepower out of the original barrel is the maximum. You cannot reach more. It's about 16 Newton meters we can do with it. That's a lot for original GS, but not enough for most of the clients today. So we looked for alternatives to get a bit more power out of our GS150, and we found a very, very reliable and good solution. It's the Quattrini. Quattrini has built this cylinder for our PE models, and it's a 177 cc top end, and it's very famous and known in our community. And yeah, we looked at it and found out it could fit on a GS block. So with some modifications it could work. So we started modifying and tried to find out how we could mount this top end on a GS case. And that's what you see here. That's the result we found over the years. Now these engines are running in US, they are running in GB, Great Britain, and Austria, in France, and also in Czechia. And we are very happy that we developed a solution for our GS150 cranks, original cranks, to a more powerful engine that is very reliable, and yeah, for our clients, they are very happy with it. Let's go back to the kit. There are two different kits, the Quattrini and the rotary valve version, and this is the Quattrini and the reed valve version with a direct inlet in the cylinder. It needs some modifications to be useful on a GS150 block, but that's another story, so that we can talk over later. To be able to mount this cylinder kit on our barrel, then it's necessary to do some modifications on the case, and we have to do some different modifications, and that is the distance between the studs must be modified to the needs of the cylinder kit, and the inside the cylinder face must be drilled out to fit the top end, and we have to plan the surface to fit a bigger spacer kit to be able to adapt that free transfer port cylinder kit on a 2 transfer port case. That is necessary, and that means these are not revisable measurements that we have to take to be able to mount that kit. So here's the spacer we need for the adaptation. It must be placed in the correct position, and then this cylinder is able to be mounted on our original carter without welding and all other heavier measurements. As you see, we have 3 transfer ports in a 2 transfer port case, and that's one of the big advantages of this solution. Over the time we were thinking about long stroke tuning, because a long stroke crank helps you at lower RPM and gives you a little bit more torque. So we were talking about that measurements with Kingwelle. Kingwelle is a small company in the south of Germany. They are very good do very good handcrafted cranks, and yeah, we use these cranks since years successfully without any defaults, and they work very well also with engines like we have here with 23 horsepower on the long run. That's important, not only short time, but on the long run. We have clients that work with these engines for nearly 15,000 kilometers on long distance, and that's very impressive in my way. So this crank has some specialties. We use a forged conrod that is from Italian company. We have a thread that is not the standard thread with 1.25 millimeter thread, but it's 1.0 millimeter thread. So it's better to adjust clutch and electric components. Second, we have from outside changeable seals. That is very helpful when you need a service over the years and you have worn out seals. You can change them from the outside. That's one of the advantages of this crank. And this crank is not very cheap, but it's worth any penny. This is an engine that we built up for a client of south of Germany. He's coming today to pick it up, so that's the reason why that early we did this small interview to show you what we are doing here. This engine can be delivered with all components that you see here. So a modified cowl that is necessary because we have a different inlet manifold as in original cases, with an alloy flywheel that is a bit heavier than the standard flywheel. That is very necessary and good in the use of this engine at high reels. And it comes up with a 30 millimeter Delauto carburetor, a modified and welded inlet manifold, and it comes with a special sports clutch from Pinasco that is very light, and that's very important in the case of our wide frame engines because we don't have fixed bearings. So the more power you give on the clutch, the weaker the crank will be on the long run. It's very important to take a light clutch and not use heavy clutches like Cosa and Super Strongs and whatever there are on the markets. So the lightest clutch that holds that power is the best clutch. So not always the best looking clutch and the most heavy clutch is the best, but sometimes the more easy and light clutch is the best one. It comes with an electronic ignition. We use Flytech from Pinasco. There are others on the market that you also can use. It's not a thing that we are talking about. So it comes with a different gearing that is customized and specially done for this engine. The engine is ready to build in plug and play, so all components you can use in the standard position in the scooter. And if you want, I show you how it looks like when it is built in
Sure.
the original condition. Okay. So that's my GS engine with a 61 stroke prototype. That is the next stage we will use in the future. We tested this year and it works very well. It has done about 2,000 kilometers right now. And yeah, 26 horsepower. We are very happy. It has a lot of more torque than the stage 5 version with 60 stroke. But we want to test it exceptionally before we give it to our clients. So at the moment 60 stroke is the version we sell and build for our clients. 61 is still in test. It works very well. The next charge of cranks will also have some 61 stroke cranks in production, but now we stay here with the 60 stroke. So 61 stroke, but the components are to be built in the same way as you do with a 60 stroke. So that's the way it looks when you do it in the engine. In this case, we had the chance to build in the vape ignition, so that's a bit different from electric contents than we have normally with the Flytechs. But what you see when you come here, you can see you have enough space to leave the original frame as it is. It works wonderful and perfect. It's not too loud because the air filter is under the cowl, so you don't hear it anymore. When the cowl is on, you have to do anything and it fits wonderful. So also if you pull in the shock, the back shock, you have enough space and the engine works free and without any hitting the frames. That's what we want to show you today, how we work on our Quattrini conversion for GS150 with now at the moment 26 horsepower. And I think these are reliable bikes. We only heard good comments from our clients. They use these engines on the long run and long distance touring. You can use this with a fuel consumption about 4 to 4.5 liters. So the tank, the gas tank, about 8 liters works for nearly 200 kilometers. Yeah, we are very happy to show you the engines we built at the moment, and I think we are going on further to other long stroke projects with our Quattrinis, and we will use that over the long distance in the next years. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a nice weekend. Bye.
Weg mit 20.